The final deep dive trailer for F124 has just dropped, focused on track and driver updates. We're going to talk about it and break it all down, guys, and we're going to do it in a live reaction style. If you haven't seen the previous content, guys, on F124 on my channel, check all the links, guys, down below and also on screen. But let's get into this one, guys. Like and subscribe and let's see what's new. So we're going to basically run through this pretty much uncut. I might do a few stops here and there, but generally there's not a whole bunch to pick out of this trailer, so we're going to basically live com and freeball it. So the first thing to note here before we roll the footage is pretty much confirmation that all the car models are pretty much done. From what I can see here, there's some cars that are hidden away. The Aston Martin's not finished in this particular one, but Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren, Alpine, V-Carb all look seemingly done. So car models nearly there. Now this trailer focuses on track and driver updates. Now we already know Spa, Silverstone, Qatar, Jeddah have been the big four to get updates, so I'm essentially going to guess they're going to just repeat the same information in this trailer. We get, a little glimpse there at some of the car models. The Red Bull there with the big, kind of high shoulders, the Ferrari, and then the Mercedes as well, of course, with the kind of narrow nose and the new paint job this year. Ferrari looks beautiful, of course. I'm hoping they'll update it to HP once that kind of comes around for launch, and then McLaren as well with this actual car model. And then we kind of cut to some gameplay. Baku looks unchanged. There are some minor track updates, other ones that I think have been tweaked. I think Austria looks a little bit different. I think they've actually opened up the chicane, the new chicane entirely. And then we saw in Monaco in the kind of gameplay deep dive that the entire track is covered with sponsor banners. Now Silverstone, we've kind of covered this in depth, but generally completely new kind of road surface tarmac, along with also outside elements. Certain curbs have been reprofiled and just kind of flattened a bit, it feels like. And generally the common theme between Silverstone and Spa, it's just a bit more of a sense of general change of height. Like you're getting that feeling of elevation change throughout the lap. Spa, of course, we've seen this in pretty big detail now, but a nice much needed visual update for Spa. Gravel traps everywhere, curbs have been made narrower and flatter, and then they do kind of show these other things which I find to be a little bit meh. Like you're never ever going to drive or care about this. It's just not something you're going to bother about. But either way, gravel, runoffs being painted off differently, that's also a big thing in Qatar. The kind of tarmac track runoffs all being updated, and same goes for Jeddah as well, having a lot of visual updates. But yeah, generally, of course, Spa Silverstone the biggest changes this year, and you can see here Qatar looking beautiful. Kudos to Co-Masters, I'll give them credit where it's due. They did a good job of this track last year, and they're going to bring up to spec, and this will be fully on the money this year. You can see here the pit entry actually, and certain curbs have been changed. There are some small, like I said, visual changes. So you can see here on the curbs, difference in how they're going to drive, and also pit entry. So Qatar has essentially the same road surface, but just very slight tweaks to curbs and outside elements, and kind of external things which you're not actually going to interact with. And then we do get a brief look at Jeddah, but I'm talking literally 2 corners and they cut away. Now that in the background seems all new, that building there, but again, these are external elements which we don't really care about. Literally, this is what we get from Jeddah. That's it. That kind of little sequence of corners, which tells me maybe other parts of the track aren't done. So for example, if you remember, I think it was last year for 23, the chicane when you go into the hotel actually got made a bit tighter. So I'd like to see them hopefully replicate that change in game this year. And they just kind of bang on about the authentic experience, which kind of we already know about from the original trailer, the very first press brief, and things they put out, basically new cutscenes, kind of a new presentation feel, and just kind of freshening things up a little bit. And of course the driver radios, which very much like F1 Manager do add a bit of realism to it. So we've got some radios here from Hamilton, we've got Alonso, and just generally a bit more details to the game. I'm not going to even say like depth, it's just details, because it adds trimmings to the outside product, but the essential game is not a huge amount different to 23. The key thing is going to be the handling. If the handling is good, I haven't driven it yet, that could be a different game, and that's what I want to try and find out. Another beta currently is ongoing, so keen to see on the feedback on that. And I can tell you actually, I'm going to announce in this video, we are going to get a early creators hands-on very soon, in about 2 weeks time. So there will be some exclusive early access content, guys, from me, so subscribe to the channel for that. But yeah, here we get also some nice visuals of the cars, see the kind of different car models. So we see the Mercedes, and then the McLaren, of course, and then the best of the bunch, Ferrari, of course, looking absolutely awesome under the lights. I doubt how good this is going to look, because obviously when you race competitively, you tend to tone graphics down, and consoles run a bit less graphics than PC anyway. But still, cars look beautiful, tracks look beautiful, and the game generally always looks pretty nice. And then we also get confirmation of driver updates, you know, driver faces, which we also had confirmed and we've seen previews of in kind of screenshots and other pictures elsewhere and kind of previous trailers. But basically adding some real kind of depth, shadows and realism to the drivers. But again, if you run your graphics down, they're going to look a bit like what they are on the left anyway. So yeah, good to see Max there looking quite a lot different, getting a pretty big update. Good to see. Their hair is one of the big things you can tell with the drivers. They just look a lot better. Really nice picture here, just showing off all the different updates to all the different drivers. And yeah, overall, I like these things. You know, they add layers to the game, but it doesn't stop it from essentially being details, right? And then extra content, F2, which is always in the game. At launch, it'll be 2023 Formula 2 with the old car model, and then there'll be a post-launch update somewhere around October, November, December, as always. Possibly earlier, because the game is launching earlier, but we'll have the new F2 car model with, you know, the driver updates, and then of course all the icons in the game, which we now have a pretty decent selection of. I mean, you can see here we've got Senna, Schumacher, Villeneuve, Hakkinen, Button, Massa, Webber, Mansell, Kobayashi, Maldonado, of course Jamie Chadwick as well in there, Brendan Lee, esports drivers, David Tanitza, Jarno Opmeer. So it's good to see a lot of variety, you know, in this. And you can see there JB suiting up in a Haas uniform, which is something that no one would have imagined. Lucas Blakely also in the game. And then we also have extra confirmation of James Hunt and Juan Pablo Montoya being added to the game, which we'll see in just a little bit. There is Michael Schumacher in Ferrari Red. There is the Esports Boys, confirmation they're still in the game. The 4 champions so far. And then, of course, yeah, pretty much that's all for the trailer. There's James Hunt in the flesh in McLaren. There is Juan Pablo Montoya in Red Bull colours. So kind of scraping the barrel for, you know, a trailer worthy deep dive, if you will. But yeah, there's kind of your lot and all the updates for the game. So let me know what you think, guys, in the comments down below. Like and subscribe. Are you excited for the game? Like I said, I'll have early access gameplay, guys, very soon, in a couple of weeks, before the actual early launch for the Champions Edition. So keep your eyes peeled, subscribe to the channel for that. That'll be massive, and I can't wait to get my hands on this game once and for all and see exactly what we're looking at this year for our game cycle. But either way, guys, like I said, like, subscribe. A big shout out to the members, as always, for supporting the channel and the content. Check out the links down below, guys, to my channel sponsors and affiliates. And always check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. But yeah, guys, cheers for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.